Welcome back to An Open Book. And today we will be doing, drum roll please, Chapter 4, The Keeper of the Keys. That was really like, Chapter 4. Anyway, I'm sorry, that was like really weird. But anyway, Chapter 4, The Keeper of the Keys, who, obviously, if you haven't read this yet, is... I didn't say it out loud, but if you caught it, if you caught what I just said, you'll know, and that was terrible because I just spoiled it all for you. But that is what I do best, spoil things for people. I'm not just including books, sadly. I am a champion. I'm a champion. Well, I mean, I am a champion, but I am a champion spoiler. Anyway, moving along, right along. Before we start, sorry, I don't know what's coming over me today. Just like my closet door is open and like I can see I like from the corner of my eye, I can just see there's a little crack in the door and I can see that the door is open. So like I'm going to quickly go and shut it because it's freaking me out. Like, cuz my mom has this creepy doll in there, like creepy doll. It freaks me out. Like it's like 100 years old and it's like breaking apart and is like porcelain looking. It's so creepy. It's like one of those, it's like Annabelle from the movies. Oh my god, I'm freaking myself out. I'm going to go close the door before that doll gets me. Okay, I'm back. That creepy door is for the most part closed. I'll have to close it better when I finish or when I get back from the farmer's market, which I'm going to today, and I'm selling brownies, so yay. But Chapter 4, The Keeper of the Keys, where was I? I'm sorry, I'm just rambling on about random things. Anyway, right into Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 4, The Keeper of the Keys. Boom! The person knocked again. Dudley woke quickly. "Where's the cannon?" he said idiotically. There was a crash and Uncle Vernon came slipping into the room. He was holding a rifle in his hands. Now they all knew what had been in the thin, long package he had brought in the car with them. "Who's here?" he yelled. "I'm warning you, I've got a gun." There was a pause. Then, smash! Oh, that was really loud. Smash! I hope I don't blow up whatever you're listening to at the moment. The door was hit with such a force that it swung off its hinges and with a great crash landed flat on the floor. Flat on the floor. Say that 10 times. Flat on the floor, flat on the floor, flat on the floor, flat on the floor, flat on the floor. A giant man was standing in the doorway, his face almost completely hidden by a long, tangly mane of hair and shaggy, wild beard, but you could just see his eyes, glinting like the blackest of beetles under all of his hair. The giant squeezed his way into the little hut, stooping so that his head was just brushing the ceiling. He stooped down and picked up the door and fitted it back easily into the frame. The noise of the storm dropped a little. He then turned to look at the lot of them. "Couldn't make me a cup of tea, could you? It's not been a walk in the park of a journey." He walked over to the sofa where Dudley sat frozen in fear. "Budge over, you great fat lump," said the stranger. Dudley squeaked and ran behind his mother, who was crouching mortified behind Vernon. "And there's Harry," said the man. Harry looked up into the wild, shadowy, fierce face and saw that the black beetle eyes were crinkled into a smile. "Last time I saw you, you were a baby," said the man. "You look a lot like your own dad, but you've got your mother's eyes." Vernon then made a strangled, rasping noise. "I demand you to leave," he said. "You are breaking and entering." "Oh, shut up, Dursley," said the giant. He reached over the sofa and reached over the sofa, grabbed the gun, and jerked it out of Vernon's arms. Yeah, I'm having today my nose was so runny and it was disgusting. I'm sorry, but I was in my bed, I woke up and my nose was running like crazy, and I for some reason we only have literally one box of tissues in our whole house, so I didn't even know where they were until just an hour ago, and now they're in my room. But I was getting out of bed, and, like, I had to wipe my nose on my pillow. I know that's so disgusting, but I had to because I had nothing else. Literally nothing else. And, like, sometimes I used wipes, but, like, you know, like baby wipes, Kirkland baby wipes and all that. But, yeah. Anyway, he grabbed the gun from Vernon, jerked it out of his hands, and bent into the knot as easily as if it was a rubber band, and threw it to a corner of the room. Vernon made another odd noise, like a mouse that had been stepped on. "Anyway, Harry," said the man of a giant. "It's a man of a giant." I really need my voice or mouth or body or the whole charisma checked. "Anyway, Harry," said the giant of a man, turning his back on the Dursleys, "a happy birthday to you. Got something for you here. I may have sat on it at some point, but it'll taste fine." From an inside pocket of his black cloak, he pulled a squashed box. Harry opened it with his fingers shaking. Inside was a big, sticky chocolate cake with "Happy Birthday, Harry" on it and green icing. Harry looked at the giant. He was meaning to say thank you, but the words wouldn't form, and what he had said instead was, "Who are you?" "Who are you?" More like, "Who are you? Who are you?" I can't find the right tone, you know? Like, I really can't. Did Harry just, like, take a long drink of their water? Because that's what I'm going to do right now. Awkward silence. The man laughed. "True, I haven't told you who I am. Rubeus Hagrid, keeper of the keys and grounds at the school of Hogwarts. Of the school..." Oh my gosh, I almost just said the school of silence. Coming from Hagrid, there is no way Hogwarts is a school of silence. Hogwarts. He held out a huge hand and shook Harry's whole arm. "What about that tea, then, huh?" he said, rubbing his enormous hands together. "I want to say no to something a mite stronger if you've got it." His eyes moved on to the empty bin with the chip bags in it and snorted. He bent down towards the fireplace and did something with something. I don't know. I'm not going to say. They couldn't tell what he was doing, but when he got back up a second later, there was a full-blown fire there. It filled the whole hut with its light, and Harry felt the warmth wash over him as he got into a soaking and hot bath. The man sat back down on the sofa, which sagged under his weight, and began tacking all sorts of stuff. Tacking? Oh my lord! Dude, okay, seriously? I cannot type right. It's supposed to be taking, not tacking. So, let me put this into a sentence for you. So, I had a cake, and I tacked it and gave it to my friend. Actually, it was more like tack? I don't know. That's not really what I'm going for here. Let me see a better way of saying it. Like, I started tacking. Yes, I started tacking all sorts of stuff and emptying out my pockets. No, I emptied out my pockets and tacking all sorts of stuff from them. Better. Yeah, you see, that does not sound right. It is supposed to be taking. Stella, write stuff better, please. Please. Taking. Whoa, that was really weird. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, the man sat back down on the sofa, which sagged under his weight, and began taking all sorts of stuff from his pockets. A kettle, some sausages, a poker, a teapot, several banged-up mugs, and a bottle of brown liquid that he took a long, drawn-out drink from before he started to make tea. Soon the hut was full of the sound and smell of sizzling sausage. Nobody said a single thing as he worked, but as he slid the fat, first juicy, enormous, just slightly burnt sausages from the poker thingy, Dudley moved a little. Uncle Vernon, okay. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting my own self. But I don't really know what a poker is. I mean, call me new-fashioned, but I really don't know what it is, to be perfectly honest. Like, do you poke people with it? Like, that's really the vibe I'm getting from this here. Like, I have a poker. I will use it to poke you with. Isn't there, like, things that called sticks that you can do it, a just as fine job? I mean, like, I don't know, but I really don't know, but I'm just saying here. Like, maybe. But anyway, nobody said a single thing as he worked, but as he slid the first juicy, enormous, just slightly burnt sausages from the poker thingy, Dudley moved a little. Uncle Vernon said sharply, "Don't touch a thing he gives you, Dudley." The giant laughed darkly. "Your giant jello son doesn't need fattening up, I can tell you that." He gave the sausages to Harry, who was so unbelievably hungry that he thought he had never tasted a single thing more wonderful. But he still couldn't take his eyes off the guy. Finally, because nobody was seeming to explain anything, he said, "I'm really sorry, but I still don't really know who you are." The man took a swig of tea and wiped his mouth on the back of his hand. "Call me Hagrid," he said. "Everyone does. And just like I said, I'm keeper of the keys of Hogwarts. You'll know all about the school, of course." No," said Harry. Hagrid looked completely shocked. "Sorry?" said Harry quickly. "Sorry!" yelled Hagrid, turning to stick the Dursleys with eyes like a fork, who shrank back into the shadows. "It's them who should be sorry! I knew you weren't getting the letters, but I didn't think you wouldn't even know about Hogwarts for crying out bleeding loud! Did you ever wonder why your parents learned all of it?" All of what?" asked Harry, confused. "All of what?" Hagrid thundered. "Now wait just a minute. I'm like totally in the moment, and then I'm just like, "Now wait just a moment." "Now wait just a moment. Or minute. I don't know. A minute? Is that what I wrote?" "Yes, it is what I wrote." "Okay. Now wait just 1 minute." He had leapt to his feet. In anger, he had seemed to fill the whole of the hut. The Dursleys were cowering against the far wall. "Do you mean to tell me," he growled dangerously at the Dursleys, "that this boy, this bleep boy, knows nothing about anything?" Harry thought that this was going a tad far. He had been to school, and his grades weren't half bad. "I know some stuff. I can do math and all that." But Hagrid simply waved his hand and said, "About our world, I mean. Yours, mine, your parents." "What?" Hagrid, what? My gosh, why am I so, weird? Well, I mean, we all know this. We all know that there's nothing I can do to fix this. But, why can't I talk right? What? I'm just a quick little snap. What? It's like, I can't snap. I'm sorry. But I'm just like, what? Adding that little T, what? At the end, really, slow silence, awkward silence for 2 seconds, and then it's like, I don't really know. I'm really just I'm sorry. I keep talking. I really should stop. Let's go on. What? Hagrid looked like he was going to explode. "Dursley!" he screeched. Vernon had gone very pale, whispering something that sounded like... Hagrid stared at Harry. "But you must know about your mom and dad," he said. "I mean, they're famous. You are." "What? My mom and dad weren't famous, were they?" "You don't know? You don't know." Hagrid ran his fingers through his hair, fixing Harry with a bewildered stare. "You don't know what you are?" he said finally. Vernon suddenly found his voice. "Stop!" he commanded. "Stop! Stop in the name of the law!" What was that laugh? I really don't understand. My gosh. Stop! Stop! I don't know. I don't know how to say it sound like Uncle Vernon. Stop! No, I'm betting that is not it. Stop! Stop! No, I can't. Never mind. Let me just do it I'm looking at my brother. I'm just stop! 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 I can't find my voice now. I need Declan to come in here and annoy me so I can, figure it out. "Stop! Stop! Stop!" he commanded. Yes, I did it. "Stop right there, sir. I forbid you to tell the boy anything." A braver man than Vernon Dursley would have quailed under the furious look Hagrid now gave him. When Hagrid spoke, every syllable when he spoke trembled with rage. "You never told him? Never told him what was in the letter Dumbledore left for him? I was there. I saw Dumbledore leave it, Dursley. And you kept it from him all these years?" "Kept what from me?" said Harry eagerly. Stop! I forbid you! Yelled Vernon in panic. Uncle Petunia. Yeah, honestly, she looks more like an uncle than an aunt. Aunt Petunia gave a gasp of horror. Go boil your heads, both of you, said Hagrid. Said Hagrid. I can't. Okay, please teach me how to talk, people. I mean, not people. Y'all who listen. Y'all who listen? I sound like a creep. Goodness gracious. Harry, you're a wizard. There was silence inside the hut. Only the sea and the whistling wind could be heard. The sea and the whistling wind. I sound like Flitwick. I'm a what? Gasped Harry. A wizard, of course, said Hagrid, sitting back down on the sofa, which groaned and sank even lower. And a good one, I'd say, since you've been trained up a bit. With a mom and dad like yours, what else would you be? And I reckon it's about time you read your letter. Harry stretched out his hand at last to take the yellowish envelope, addressed in emerald green ink to Mr. H. Potter, the floor, hut on the rock, the sea. He pulled out the letter and read, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry Headmaster Albus Dumbledore, odor. Yeah, it's the odor of Merlin. The odor of Merlin probably sounds like old robes or something. I really don't know. Order of Merlin, First Class, Grand Sorcerer, Chief Warlock, Supreme Mugwump, International Confederation of Wizards. Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find in here a list of all necessary books and equipment. Term begins on September 1st. We await your owl by no later than July 31st. Yours, Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress. Questions exploded inside of Harry's head, and he couldn't decide which one of them to ask first. After a few moments, he stammered, What does that mean, they await my owl? Galloping Gargons! That reminds me. Galloping Gorgons, not Gargons. Gargon? What the heck is a Gargon? Galloping Gorgons. That reminds me, said Hagrid, clapping a hand to his forehead with enough force to knock over a horse. And from yet another pocket inside his overcoat, he pulled an owl. A real, live, rather ruffled-looking owl, a long quill, and a roll of parchment. With his tongue between his teeth, he scribbled a note that Harry could read upside down. Dear Professor Dumbledore, given Harry his letter. Oh my god. Hagrid! I'm going to give Hagrid his letter. Hagrid! Hey Hagrid, my name is Hagrid. I cannot talk or read. I need someone to do this for me. Like, can I be lazy for a day and just, like, have someone read it for me? Because obviously I can't do it. Dear Professor Dumbledore, given Harry his letter, taking him to buy his stuff tomorrow. Weather's terrible. Hope you're well, Hagrid. Hagrid rolled up the note, gave it to the owl, which clamped it in its beak, went to the door, and threw the owl out into the storm. Then he came back and sat down as though this was as normal as talking on the phone. Harry realized his mouth was open and closed it fast. Where was I? Said Hagrid, but at that moment, Uncle Vernon, still ashen-faced but looking very mad, Okay, I'm gonna pause again here. Have you guys ever seen those? I can't, like, show you, because obviously not. This is a podcast, not a YouTube channel, which obviously I am not starting, because no, thank you. Anyway, the mad emoji, where it's like the red emoji, and his eyes are like, and it's like, and it like got a little frown, and like, the eyebrows are up, and the eyes are like, meow. That's what I put there. And, like, I printed that in color just because I like, the only reason I print these out in color is just to see the little emoji guys, because I only put, like, one a paper, like, one in, like, 11 papers, which is how many papers I had when I checked on my printer. But yeah, only one colored thing in 11 pieces of paper, and I'm like, well, I tried to print it black and white the first time I tried to print it, but my printer was out of, ink, or not out of ink, out of paper, and so I forgot to put it on black and white, so I got one colored thing out of 11 peaches, out of 11 pages. Out of 11 peaches, because peaches are something you print out of a printer, not that you grow on a tree, obviously. Uncle Vernon, still ashen-faced but looking very mad, moved into the firelight. He's not going, he said. Hagrid grunted. I'd like to see a muggle like you stop him, he said. A what? A what? That was like exactly that was exactly what I said. I was like, "A what? A what? A what?" Hey, wow. Wow, that actually sounded like exactly the same all through. It was like I replayed it on something. I don't know. A what? Said Harry, interested. A muggle, said Hagrid. It's what we call non-magic folk like them. And it's your bad luck you grew up in a family of the biggest muggles I ever laid my eyes on. We swore when we took him in we'd put a stop to that crap, said Uncle Vernon. Swore we'd stamp it out. Ha! A wizard for sure. You knew this? Screeched Harry. You knew I'm a wizard? Knew? Yelled Petunia all of a sudden. Knew? Of course we knew. How could you not be, my darn sister being what she was? Let me pause right here again, because, I mean, you didn't hear it, but as I was screeching, because the characters were supposed to be screeching, Siri went off, and she was like, I cannot help you at this moment, because my Wi-Fi is not on, or whatever stuff. I don't know. I cannot help you, because my Wi-Fi is not on. Anyway, my darn sister being what she was. Oh, she got a letter just like that and disappeared off to that school and came home every summer with her pockets full of frog spawn, turning teacups into rats. I was the only one who saw her for what she was, a freak. But for my mother and father, oh no, it was Lily this and Lily that. They were proud of having a witch in the family. She stopped to draw a deep breath and then kept ranting like a lunatic. It seemed she had been wanting to say all this for years. Then she met that Potter and had been waiting to... Then she met that Potter at school and they left and got married and had you. And of course I knew you'd be just the same, just as strange, just as abnormal. And then she went and got herself blown up and we got landed with you. Harry had gone very white. As soon as he found his voice, he said... Blown up? You told me they died in a car crash. Car crash! Roared Hagrid, jumping up so Car crash! Roared Hagrid, jumping up so angrily that the Dursleys scuttled back to their corner. How could a car crash kill Lily and James Potter? It's an outrage, a scandal. Harry Potter not knowing his own story when every kid in our world knows his frickin' name. But why? What happened? Harry asked urgently. The anger faded from Hagrid's face. He looked suddenly anxious. Okay, Hagrid's gonna take a drink now. Sound like a Dasani commercial. He threw... where am I? Here? Oh, yeah. That was terrible. I'm sorry. But why? What happened? Harry asked urgently. The anger faded from Hagrid's face. He looked suddenly anxious. I never even expected this, he said in a worried voice. I had no idea. When Dumbledore told me there might be trouble getting hold of you, how much you didn't know. And, Harry, I don't even know if I'm the right person to tell you, but someone's got to. You can't go off to Hogwarts not even knowing. He threw a dirty look at the Dursleys. Well, it's the best you know as much as I can tell you. Although, I can't tell you everything. It's a great mystery, parts of it. He sat down, stared into the fire for a few seconds, and then said, I guess it begins... I guess it begins with a person called... But it's insane you don't even know his name. Everyone in our world knows. Who? Well, I don't like saying the name if I can help it. No one does. Why not? Gulpin' gargoyles, Harry. People are still scared. Gosh, this is difficult. See, there was this wizard who went bad. As bad as you can go. Worse than worse. His name was... Hagrid gulped, but no words came out. He also took a drink of water. Could you write it down? Harry suggested. Nope. Can't spell it. All right. Anyway, Voldemort. The name's been tabooed. Oh, wait. He's not. Stuff is... Oh, fine. Sometimes you're gonna have to have spoilers, you guys. But... No, should I say it? I don't know. Alrighty. The name's not tabooed anymore because Voldemort's, up in the great, terrible, dark mystery in the sky. Let you guys figure that out. What that meant, anyway, because I don't really know what I meant. Anyway. Well, Hagrid shuddered. Don't make me say it again. Anyway, this wizard guy, about 20 years ago, I think, started looking for followers. Got them, too. Some were afraid. Some just wanted a bit of his power, because he was getting himself power. All right. All right. That sounded really weird. Giving himself power. All right. All right. That was... Seriously, though, I need to learn how to talk. Anyway, because he was getting himself power, all right. Dark days, Harry. Don't know who to trust. Didn't dare get friendly with strange widgets. Wizards or witches. Witches. Terrible things happen. He was taking over the place. Of course, some people stood up to him, and he murdered them horribly. One of the only safe places left was Hogwarts. Probably Dumbledore is the only one you know who was afraid of. Didn't dare try taking the school, not just then anyway. Now, your mother and father were as good a witch and wizard as I ever knew. Had boy and girl at Hogwarts in their day. Suppose the mystery is why you know who never tried to get 'em on their side before. Probably knew they were too close to Dumbledore to want anything to do with the dark side. Well, my brother came in probably before this episode started, and he was like, Stella, you should do voices. And we spent 5 minutes trying to figure out how to say Hagrid's voice, and I really couldn't come up with it. The best thing I probably do is don't make me say it again. Anyway, this wizard, about 20 years now, I think, started looking for followers. Got 'em too, because some were afraid. Some just wanted a bit of his power. That does not sound like Hagrid at all. Jim Dale can do it so well, but I suck. Anyway, suppose the mystery is why you know who never tried to get him on his side before. Probably they were too close to Dumbledore not to want anything to do with the dark side. Maybe he thought he could persuade them. Maybe he just wanted them out of the way. All anyone knows is, he turned up in the village where you were all living on Halloween 10 years ago. You was just a year old. He came to your house and Hagrid suddenly pulled out a very dirty, spotted handkerchief and blew his nose with a sound like a foghorn. Sorry, he said, but it's that sad. Knew your mom and dad, and nicer people you couldn't find. Anyway, you know who, he's an owl now. You know who tried to kill them. Well, he did kill them. And this is the real mystery of the thing, he tried to kill you too. Wanted to clean it up quick, I suppose, or maybe he just liked killing by then. But he couldn't do it. Never wondered how you got that mark on your forehead? That was no ordinary cut. That's what you got when a powerful, evil curse touched you. Took care of your mom and dad at your house, even. But it didn't work on you, and that's why you're famous, Harry. No one ever lived after he decided to kill them. No one except you. And he killed some of the best witches and wizards of the age. The McKinnons, Bones, Pruitts, and you was only a baby, and you lived. Something very painful was going on in Harry's mind. As Hagrid's story ended from his lips, he saw again the blinding flash of green light, more clearly than he had ever remembered it before, and he remembered something else. For the first time in his life, a high, cold, cruel laugh. Hagrid was watching him sadly. Took you from the ruined house myself, on Dumbledore's orders. Brought you to this load of old tosh. Dumbledore's load of old tosh, said Uncle Vernon, interrupting Hagrid. Harry jumped. He'd almost forgotten that the Dursleys were even there. Uncle Vernon certainly seemed to have got back his courage. He was glaring at Hagrid, and his fists were clenched into fists, I guess. Now you listen here, he snarled. I accept there's something strange about you, probably nothing a good beating won't have cured. And as for all this about your parents, well, they were weirdos, no denying it, and the world's better off without them in my opinion. Asked for all they got, getting mixed up with these wizard people. Just what I expected. Always knew they'd come to a sticky end. But at that moment, Hagrid leapt from the sofa and drew a battered pink umbrella from inside his coat. Pointing this at Uncle Vernon like a sword, he said, I'm warning you, Dursley, I'm warning you. One more word, in danger of being speared at the end of an umbrella by a bearded guy. Uncle Vernon's courage failed again. He flattened himself against the wall and fell silent. That's better, said Hagrid, breathing heavily and sitting back down on the sofa, which this time sagged right under his weight and down onto the floor. Harry, meanwhile, still had questions to ask. Thousands, hundreds, maybe more. Actually, I went down. Hundreds, thousands, 100,000s, 10,000s. As I went down again. Hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. I don't think you could have a million questions, but it's quite an exaggeration for hundreds, too. But what happened to you know who? Good question. Disappeared. Vanished. Same night he tried to kill you. Makes you even more famous. That's the biggest mystery. He's getting more and more powerful. Why'd he go? Mystery. Some say he died. Piece of dung, in my opinion. Dunno if he had enough human left in him to die. Some say he's still out there, biding his time, but I don't believe it. People who was on his side came back to ours. Most of them came out of kind of trances. Don't reckon they could have done if it was who was coming back. Most of us reckon he's still out there somewhere but lost his powers. Too weak to carry on, 'cause something about you finished him, Harry. There's something going on that night he hadn't counted on. I have no idea what it was. No one does. But something about you stumped him, all right. Hagrid looked at Harry with warmth and respect. Warmth, and warmth. I just sound like a little kid. Warmth. I want to go to my house again. There's warmth in there. Warmth and respect. Warmth and respect. Harry with warmth and respect in his eyes. But Harry, instead of feeling happy and proud of himself, felt quite sure that there had been a horrible mistake. A wizard? How could he possibly be? He'd spent his life being clouded by Dudley and bullied by his aunt and uncle. If he really was a wizard, why hadn't they been turned into warty toads every time they tried to lock him in his cupboard? You know, in my opinion, he didn't know this. He was locked in his cupboard at the time. Maybe they were warty toads. I don't know. It's just my conspiracy theory. Why hadn't they be turned into warty toads every time they try to lock him in his cupboard? If he'd once defeated the greatest sorcerer in the world, how come Dudley had always been able to kick him around like a soccer ball? Because, even though it says football, I don't really think us Americans refer to soccer balls as footballs. Because we're stupid. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I just burped. I'm sorry. Well, if you guys don't mind burps, because I hope you don't, because that was really gross. Well then, that's good because that was disgusting. Anyway, Hagrid, he said quietly, I think you must have made a mistake. I don't think I can be a wizard. To his surprise, Hagrid laughed, laughing softly, mind, but he laughed all the same. Not a wizard, huh? Never made things happen when you were scared or angry? Harry looked into the fire. Now he thought about it. Every odd thing that had ever made his aunt and uncle mad with him had happened when Harry, had been upset or angry. Chased by Dudley's gang, he had somehow found himself out of their reach. Dreading going to school with that ridiculous haircut, he'd managed to make it grow back. And the very last time Dudley had hit him, hadn't he got his revenge without even realizing he was doing it? Hadn't he set a boa constrictor on him? Harry looked back at Hagrid, smiling, and saw that Hagrid was positively beaming at him. See, said Hagrid, Harry Potter, not a wizard. You wait, you'll be right famous at Hogwarts. But Uncle Vernon wasn't going to give in without a fight. Haven't I told you he's not going, he hissed. He's going to Stonewall High, and he'll be grateful for it. I've read those letters, and he needs all sorts of rubbish, spellbooks and wands, and if he wants to go, an idiot muggle like you won't stop him, growled Hagrid. Stop Lily and James Potter, son, going to Hogwarts? You're completely mad. His name has been down ever since he was born. He's off to the finest school of witchcraft and wizardry in the world. 7 years there, and he won't know himself. He'll be with youngsters of his own sort, for a change, and he'll be under the greatest headmaster Hogwarts ever had, Albus Dumbledore. I am not paying for some crackpot fool to teach him magic tricks, yelled Uncle Vernon. But he had finally gone too far. Hagrid seized his umbrella and whirled it over his head. Never, he thundered, insult Albus Dumbledore in front of me! Well, that was really that was really like headphone blasting. In front of me! He brought the umbrella swishing down through the air to point at Dudley. There was a flash of violet light, a sound like a firecracker, and a sharp squeal, and the next second, Dudley was dancing on the spot with his hands clasped over his huge butt, howling in pain. When he turned his back on them, Harry saw a curly pig's tail poking through a hole in his pants. Uncle Vernon roared. Pulling Aunt Petunia and Dudley into the other room, he cast one completely terrified look at Hagrid and slammed the door behind them. Hagrid looked down at his umbrella and stroked his beard. Shouldn't have lost my temper, he said ruthfully, but it didn't work anyway. Meant to turn him into a pig, but I suppose he was so much like a pig anyway, there wasn't much left to do. He cast a sideways look at Harry under his bushy eyebrows. Be grateful if you didn't mention that to anyone at Hogwarts, he said. I'm, not supposed to do magic, strictly speaking. I was allowed to do a bit to follow you and get your letters to you and stuff. One of the reasons I was so set on taking the job. Why aren't you supposed to do magic? He asked Harry. Oh, well, I was at Hogwarts myself, but I got expelled, to tell you the truth. In my 3rd year, they snapped my wand in half and all. But Dumbledore let me stay as gamekeeper. Great man, Dumbledore. Why were you expelled? It's getting late, and we've got lots to do tomorrow, said Hagrid loudly. Gotta get up to town, get all your books on and all that stuff. He took off his thick black coat and threw it at Harry. You can wear that, he said. Don't mind it wriggles around a bit. I think I still got a couple of mice in one of the pockets. And Chapter 3 is over. And by the way, if you're reading this book, because I've already read this book, honestly, Chapter 4 is the end of the boring part. So I got you through the boring part. Now be happy because the new and awesome part is coming. And I think the next, it's Chapter 5, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 5, Diagon Alley. So be ready for Diagon Alley, and I have a piece of cheese or something in my microphone. I'll have to gauge that out when we're done. Anyway, so thank you for listening to this episode of An Open Book, and remember to rate me 5 stars, tell your friends, do anything you really want with it, as long as you don't abuse it. I mean, that's the point, right? And if you can't listen to me on iTunes because, I don't know why, you don't have something Apple or iTunes doesn't work for you or something, I've got all these other places you could go. Podbean, there's iTunes, Radio Public, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Overcast.fm, Stitcher, Acast, Castbox, Google Play, and I think a couple more. I'll have to check about that. Like I said last episode, I might never check. I don't know. I may just say oh, well, that's how many I remember. So if you find more, oh yeah, there was this Spark Notes thing, I think. I don't know what it was. Anyway, sorry for that sound. It was ding. I think something's updating, one of my technology things. I'll have to check when I'm finished. But yeah, and I am excited to say thank you to Avery. Wait, actually, I'm gonna check on iTunes to see who that amazing person was. I don't know how, but anyway, there was someone called Avery _Bella something. I don't know. I think they were numbers or something. Anyway, Avery Bella, thank you for rating me 5 stars. It helps. You guys are the best. And remember, I'm always putting out new episodes. So yeah. And there's tons of other episodes happening. And I still have 12 other episodes of this podcast. So remember to listen. And as always, thank you, and remember to go to any of those sites, rate me 5 stars, tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your grandparents, tell your dog, I don't know, just tell anyone you care about, and if they're not your dog, they will listen, because obviously dogs can't, okay, I need to stop. Anyway, goodbye, thank you, and thanks for listening to another episode. Bye!